What's going on, beautiful people? Thank you guys for tuning in, for watching and listening. I appreciate your appreciation of my never-ending bullshit rants and rambles, and I'm grateful that you guys are actually listening to the shit. So thank you. And in this video, we got a rant coming up for you guys, a ramble here about drugs. Because first of all, kids, don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, okay? Don't do drugs, because drugs are bad. We're gonna talk about drugs here, okay? And simply put, life, the matrix of life, this video game, this illusion, this simulation, this universe is run by drugs. What are drugs, first of all? Drugs are chemical compounds, right? Take any external drug or internal drug and it's broken down into a chemical equation, right? So if you take, for example, marijuana has a chemical equation, and LSD has a chemical equation and a molecular structure. Any drug has a structure, right? And on the same token, your body is run by internal drugs, by chemical compounds, right? So for example, the chemical compound serotonin is produced by your body, mostly in your gut, and regulates your well-being and your mood. So these drugs, so your entire existence as a human being is dictated by drugs, by chemical compounds, by things that have a molecular structure, chemistry. The whole fucking thing is run by chemistry. And so for example, when you fall in love with a person, the compound oxytocin, it's the love hormone, is secreted naturally in your body, right? I think mostly in your brain, and so you feel like you're in love. It's oxytocin. Oxytocin is, again, it's a chemical compound. So really, when you have an orgasm, you have like endorphins and dopamine and like a bunch of compounds being secreted by your body because you've orgasmed, right? You're experiencing orgasm right now, and there's like certain certain chemicals that are secreted after the orgasm, during the orgasm, and so your state of consciousness is altered. So these chemical compounds, they regulate your state of consciousness, your state of awareness, and how you perceive the world in that particular time-space continuum. When you smoke cigarettes, right, you put in nicotine in your body, and you put in whatever the fuck is tar and all that shit in the cigarette, and that also modifies your state of consciousness because now you're introducing these chemical compounds into your body. And same way with coffee, right? Caffeine enters your body and alters your state of consciousness in a certain way, causes the secretion of adrenaline, and that puts you in a state of consciousness that is focused, that is more aware, and yeah, really. So everything, your very existence, whether you decide to actually insert an external drug into your body, an external chemical compound, or whether you don't, because right now, as I'm speaking right now, my entire physiology, there is a bunch of chemical equations and a bunch of chemical reactions happening inside my body. You see? So, then it's safe to say that the entire matrix of life is run by drugs, is run by chemistry. So, where am I going with this rant? I have no idea. I really have no idea where I'm going with this rant. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe we should redefine our definition of drugs, because when we think of drugs, automatically we think, oh, drugs. Oh, you're doing it. It's bad. It's not good. Oh, you're messing around with your chemistry. You're messing around with this. When you meditate, you also modify your state of consciousness, and you actually get to release things like endorphins, right? And so for you guys who meditate, maybe at some point in meditation you found yourself just bursting out of laughter, because the act of meditation caused you to secrete endorphins, drugs, okay? And now you're laughing hysterically. You don't even know why you're laughing hysterically. So, our state of consciousness, therefore, is always being altered. You see, when you're like, it's 10 o'clock in 10 p.m., right? And you want to go to bed and you feel groggy, your state of consciousness has changed, because now melatonin is being secreted in your body, the chemical compound called melatonin, which makes this thing called human more groggy and more sedated, right? And just wants to, put your head down and change your state of consciousness. And a new drug is inserted during the REM cycle of sleep. That drug is known as DMT, dimethyltryptamine. And that's what takes you now into the dream state. See, it's being produced in your pineal gland, in your body, DMT, right? It's one of the most heavily scheduled drugs. It's fucking produced every single night in every single human being when you go to bed. And if you don't remember your dreams, you just don't remember them. Doesn't mean your pineal gland is not secreting DMT when you're asleep. You are going into the dream state. It's just maybe you don't remember. It's a funny thing, isn't it? That DMT is like in so many living things, us included, and it takes us to the dream world, to the dream state. The dream state is caused by the production of DMT, small tiny amounts during sleep of DMT that causes you to dream. And so many theories about dreams. They say it's higher vibration, it's like on a 5th or 6th dimension or whatever the fuck. And so it's the astral realm, and you're astral projecting and having out-of-body experience every time you dream. That is being caused by fucking DMT. That is being naturally, without your will, every single human being is produced in your pineal gland, taking you into the dream state. So yeah, everything is run by drugs, man. It's all drugs. It's all drugs. It's all drugs. Drugs. You're drugs. You're a chemical lab. Your body is a chemical lab. Your mind is a chemical lab. You are part of the greatest chemical experiment called planet Earth, called human being, and a human incarnation on planet Earth. You're part of that experiment. It's a chemical experiment, and it's chemistry that makes us feel good. It's chemistry that makes us feel like shit. It's chemistry that makes us, I don't know, it makes us feel do the craziest things, man. The craziest things, right? Chemistry, drugs. So then, now, I still don't know where I'm driving this car. I'm driving it, I'm pressing on the gas. I have no fucking idea what point I'm trying to make here. I'm just talking. That's why it's ramblings, right? All right. So now it's worth pondering then. If I am a chemical lab, and if I am drugs, and if I am chemistry, and if that's what life is run by, then it is worth looking at drugs now from a different perspective, from perhaps the perspective of, well, maybe certain drugs out there. Again, drugs. Let me go on with the rant, then I'll go back to the next rant, okay? Then maybe it's worth pondering that maybe certain drugs put you in a state of consciousness, external drugs, right? External to your human body. Then maybe certain drugs are worth trying, are worth experimenting with, are worth looking at and giving them a shot and seeing what kind of state of consciousness they put you in, and maybe they can teach you something. Maybe they can teach you, maybe you're using the intelligence of the intelligence of another living being, because drugs are usually, you know, caused by, oh, there's a beautiful dog there. Give me a second, guys. Hey, how you doing, little one? How you doing, little one? Here, say hello to the camera. Hey. Hey, how you doing? Here, it's a cute little one. Hello. Okay. Sorry. Speaking of drugs, I think dogs, you know, I think people who have dogs, you can confirm. Playing with dogs also causes you to produce oxytocin. Dogs have a lot of love, and I think when you bond with your dog, that causes the drug known as oxytocin to be produced in your body, and probably in the dogs too. So it's an amazing thing. Drugs. We're all one, right? So maybe, anyway, back to my rant. So maybe, just maybe, that we can use the intelligence of another being, not a human being, another being, like a plant or a fungus, because most drugs are derived from nature, right? Like from natural things, from plants. So maybe we can use the intelligence of fungus, aka psilocybin mushrooms, or a plant, aka ayahuasca or weed, marijuana, to gain certain insights about our own existence, about how to be in the world, about ourselves, our purpose, what are we doing here. And so this is what I think about you know, the fungus, the psilocybin mushrooms, and ergot, which is in LSD. I think that the fungus is far more intelligent, you know, because the fungus is a living thing, and it's sort of the internet of the planet. It's sort of the network. I think the fungus is far more intelligent than humans. And the fungus has been around for so long. I've watched a podcast, Paul Stamets, on the Joe Rogan Experience. And he said that actually humans originate from fungus, meaning the fungus is our ancestors. So, I don't know. I'm too much of a dumbass to explain that. But I think the fungus, I think some of these plants and fungus are way more intelligent. They're living beings and they have their own consciousness, way more intelligence than humans. So maybe by introducing maybe the way we can gain their intelligence is through chemistry, through having their chemistry, right? So for example, when you ingest marijuana, it's THC, right? THC is what has psychoactive. THC is, again, chemical molecule. So that chemical molecule, now you're communicating with this plant through this THC. When you ingest the fungus, the psilocybin mushroom, it's very similar to serotonin, right? So your body picks it up, and now you're interacting and you're communicating with this fungus through chemistry, and that chemistry goes into your brain. It gets picked up through neurotransmitters and whatnot, and now you're getting to experience life from the lens and the intelligence and the perspective of that plant or that fungus. Now it's very worth for me to mention also that, you know, if you think you don't do drugs and you think drugs are bad and all of that, well, open up your fridge. You probably have aspirin there. You probably have fucking maybe painkillers or something, right? Everybody's on drugs. I am on drugs. You're on drugs. Everybody's on drugs. Drugs is what runs this matrix, guys. You can't even, I mean, is it hard to see here? Is it hard to see? Of course, some drugs are harmful to you and they cause physical harm, maybe mental harm. Some drugs don't. Some drugs maybe cause you mental expansion in your mind, expansion in your soul, expansion even physically, right? I mean, some, you know, you eat. I mean, spinach is a drug, isn't it? eating spinach is really fucking good for your body, because it literally, like, vitamins are also, what are vitamins? We hear vitamins. Vitamins are also, they have a chemical equation. Each vitamin A, vitamin B, they have a chemical equation. It's a molecular structure. So even the food you eat is drugs. Food is drugs. I mean, sugar is drugs. Everything is drugs, right? So I think knowing that, then we can have less of a judgment towards quote-unquote drugs, and maybe you can start to say, okay, all right, so all drugs do is they just change your state of consciousness, and some drugs change your state of consciousness for the better, meaning they increase your frequency, and some drugs, well, not so much, you know, or maybe they do, but they have like really bad side effects. Maybe they increase your state of consciousness in the moment, but then maybe they have really bad side effects. Maybe they just, you know, they fucking make you addicted, they you know, destroy your organs from the inside or something. And of course, everybody has the right to experiment with their mind and body. Awareness, put out the awareness with scientific, you know, what do they call it? Scientific inquiry and scientific research. You put out the facts, you put out the evidence. Okay, this drug has these effects or this effects, and based on these experiments. But at the end of the day, obviously, you should be free to do whatever. Alcohol is a drug, and I mean, it's got a lot of bad side effects on your physical body. Ask your liver, talk to your liver. Liver will tell you, don't put alcohol in my body, I don't like it. But again, you know, it's a drug, but we don't think of it like that. And it changes your state of consciousness, right? Chemistry, everything's chemistry, so yeah, you know, just let's have less of a judgment towards drugs and start to see that, okay, that's it, it's just chemistry. It changes your state of consciousness. You're free to do whatever you want with that. You're free to get whatever conclusions you want out of that. And yeah, I think that's where this pointless, oh man, I'm making a lot of pointless videos today. This is where this video will end. Okay, that's it. Life is run by drugs. You're drugs, I'm drugs, everything's drugs. The food you eat is drugs. When you fall in love with a girl or a guy, you're drugs. Chemistry, it's all chemistry. That's it. That's it. I love you guys. I love every single one of you. You're all amazing beings, wonderful beings. And yeah, you're all my fellow druggies. We're all drugs here, where everything is made by drugs. And that's it. As always, don't forget to subscribe, or you're gonna sleep with the fishes.